My name's Charlie Bavington. I'm the founder and managing director of Glycomar. Glycomar is a marine biotech company really set up to discover and develop new anti-inflammatory drugs derived from marine organisms. And we've been going for 9 years, set up here at Dunstaffnage in 2005, February of 2005, and actually nearly coming up to 10 years now. We're a small company with 10 people working here, and we focus, as I said, on drug discovery and development, but we also do some other therapeutic applications in cosmeceuticals and nutraceuticals. Well, really, I'm a scientist by training. You know, I did the classic sort of academic training, went to university, did a PhD, did a postdoc here at Dunstaffnage, working for SAMS, then worked for a startup company for a few years, and then set up my own business, but still very much with a scientific training and expertise, and but really interested in entrepreneurship and the process of entrepreneurship and of technology development and innovation in a business. And EDP really gave an opportunity to understand that better, to continue my own personal development in terms of business and innovation and entrepreneurship, but also to apply that to Glycomar and to take the company forward. I was aware of EDP for a while and had been interested in applying before. Had actually applied a few years ago and I hadn't been successful, and I think it was the right time in terms of my personal development that it came along when it did in 2012. As I said, as a scientist who'd moved into business as part of their career and very much see that as my future, I was interested in the process of entrepreneurship and how technology is converted or commercialized through a business, and to understand that more and really to rationalize that and make it a process. Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's very intensive. It needs to be, to cram everything in there, it's got to be intensive. It's got to be, you've got to make every minute of the lecture time, but also the downtime when it's not downtime at all. You're actually studying and sucking information and working your group work as well there. So that's essential, I think, to deliver something realistic in a week. It's got to be very intense. And you know, it is unreasonable to expect that something as generic as that could deliver for every kind of business the specific thing they need. So it is a generic entrepreneurship program, and that is very valuable. So no matter how good your technology is, you've got to think about the market that you're addressing, and in a very specific and detailed way. And that's probably the biggest learning for someone who's a scientist creating a technology and wanting to commercialize that, is to think about the market in a really deep and detailed way, and not just generic big, oh, the market's huge, but very specifically, who is my target market, and really segment in real detail and go down to that. And then flowing from that is your value proposition. So, you know, really that's it. Those are the fundamental things which then your whole business plan will flow from. To succeed in marine finance, it's about being focused, as I said, starting with the market and understanding that for a technology business, investors are not necessarily interested in the technology you're developing. They're interested in the market and how you're going to generate value for them. So if you start with that detailed analysis of your market and really focusing down what your target market is, and then flowing from that what your target customers are, you're going to have a much more credible business plan to present to investors, and something that investors understand. If you lead with technology and only focus on that, they're probably not going to understand it, and hence will just reject it. So following EDP, which is in Boston, I had a couple of days downtime, and then I had some meeting with a venture capital firm, which I'd lined up previously. And so in that downtime, I actually took time to reorganize my pitch. And so it made an immediate change in the way I presented to a venture capital company 2 days after EDP. And then coming back to Scotland, following on from that, it was about re-looking at how the business plan and the business is presented to investors, and almost turning it on its head. So instead of leading with technology, which is naturally what you do as a scientist, you think your technology is wonderful, you lead with that, you think everybody's interested in that. They don't care about the technology, they care about the market. and the stuff that flows from that, like the value proposition. So it was turning it all in its head, and that's quite, that generates quite a lot of work, but that's very worthwhile, and it makes you look at the company in a completely different way. It's given us more confidence in our strategic direction, definitely, yes. It's given us greater success in investment, yes, that's been an impact. The other things, no, we're still pre-revenue, and that's our business model, and we're comfortable with where we're at. Well, I mean, I don't know what the numbers are in terms of impact that flow from EDP, because it is a fairly significant investment in terms of time and money. So, but over time, it must have an impact, even if it doesn't lead to success for the businesses that people are in at the time. In terms of what they then go on to do, I think it probably changes people in the way that, in their outlook, and gives them an appetite to do it, again and again and again. And so that must have an impact which will be long-term benefit to a region. And that might be something that's hard to measure in the short term, but it must have an impact long-term.